Welcome to Rugby Saturday Southwest. I'm one of your hosts, Aaron Rivera, and today we're going to be talking to you about the 45th High Desert Classic, and we're actually going to give you the background history, kind of introduce you to the High Desert Classic, which is one of the oldest tournaments in the United States as far as rugby goes. And so today I'm joined by Marty Watts and Ray Marone. Both have been involved with the High Desert for many, many years, and we're going to hear from Carl Hawkins and Herb Howell a little bit later on. But so Ray, it's my understanding you were involved with the first one, and you actually got to play in that. So you know, tell me a little bit about that first High Desert Classic.
Well, the first High Desert was we wanted to figure out a way where we could get more games, because Herb Howell came into town the second year of rugby in New Mexico. We only have one club in the whole state. We used to have to travel to Denver, to Arizona, and Oklahoma, everywhere. So we thought, let's have a tournament. We'll bring teams here, and then we could, you know, have a few games, 4 or 5 games in a weekend, and all our we wouldn't have to travel so much. And we decided we're going to have a High Desert Classic, and we decided, well, it's going to be a players tournament. We had gone to there was a couple other tournaments back then, and it was expensive and all that. We wanted to give the players a free T-shirt. We had free beer, and we had free food. You know, that's the way to get rugby players there. And we had great parties. So that was one of our premises. And after our league got a little bigger with El Paso and stuff, they enjoyed that because we brought teams in for everybody in our league. And we got to play better competition. So, and it was a success from the beginning, a very, very successful. And Herb and I helped Herb out. Herb had the idea. We worked hard together on it, and everything worked out very well. The first one, we only had 4 teams, and it just worked out really well, and it just grew from there.
And was it at Johnson Gym, right?
Yeah,
Johnson Field.
The first High Desert was at Johnson Field. We started the same year as the Balloon Fiesta. In fact, on Sunday, the Budweiser balloon came out and flew from Johnson Gym Field for our spectators. Budweiser supplied the beer for us at the party. In fact, the party was at my house. We roasted a pig. In fact, Larry Penwell, infamous Larry Penwell, was our cook. He brought the pig in my backyard. He pulled out a gun and shot the pig in my backyard. My neighbors were a little upset, but we roasted it. We had the party there. We had the Flies. It was our sort of our house band. They played one note. The police came, shut us down. But we started up an hour later, and the rest is history. So. Well,
sounds like fun. Do you remember any of the 4 teams that were there?
It was Colorado College.
CU.
CU. The New Mexico team. Austin.
Yeah, the Austin team, and then Arizona University
of Arizona. That was the 4 teams that were there.
Okay. And what are you know, some of your memories going back over the last 45 years at the High Desert?
Well, the tournament had got better and better and better, and the competition was getting better, and the parties were getting better and better. Kind of calmed down a little bit now. Everybody's a little more responsible. This was before USA Rugby put all the rules in, so we have to abide by a lot more rules. And but the rugby tournament has always brought great teams here, great spectator sport. The people come out. The rugby's great. The weather's usually incredible, and you'll see some very, very good rugby. And it'll be good this year. Marty has gotten it back up to where it was back in the 70s and 80s. We have a lot of good teams here, women's teams. It's a lot of fun. Just come out and watch the game.
And what makes this tournament, this year's tournament, it's going to be on television. Proview Sports is going to televise it. It's going to be tape delay. It'll be on Comcast 26, and we're working out a deal with the rugbychannel.tv. But you know, talking about the history of the tournament, I didn't come on board until 1974, but I remember that we had some of the greatest parties on Saturday night. Now, the Aardvarks really had some of the best teams in the 70s, but we partied so hard on Saturday night, we just worn out when we got to the finals on Sunday.
Oh, no.
But we've had some great winners. The Denver Highlanders has won it 4 or 5 times. I think Oklahoma Rugby Club has won it many times. Of course, the Aardvarks has won it in the 80s and 90s. And we've had some great teams. I know we had a couple of big winners from Tempe. We had a team from Provo that's won it a couple of times. And I think and we had a team called Alaska Usiks, right? From Anchorage came down. They're the farthest to come. And we've had some great teams. I would say, matter of fact, one of the Oklahoma team, Larry Nafee, is now the assistant athletic director for the University of Oklahoma, and he's now has made Oklahoma rugby a big college powerhouse. But boy, we had some great games with the Denver Highlanders, Denver Queen City, Denver Harlequins. Of course, the Austin Blacks came many times. So it's, you know, like I've told Ray, tournaments are now become a dinosaur because everything now is playoffs and everything. So this is one of the few tournaments that's still around that has that tradition. The only other tournament that's been around longer than us west of Mississippi as a 15-sided tournament is the Aspen Rugby Fest, but it's become more of an old boys tournament, and I hate to say it, nobody can afford to go there anymore. Yeah. Even though they have a beautiful setting with Wagner Park, it's just too bad it just costs so much. But we made it affordable. We brought in the MCN Agate. We got rooms for $78. But, you know, Ray, how many hotels that we've been in this town, we've had the party so big that they didn't want us to come back the next year.
It was at the height of the high desert, we actually used the Duke Stadium.
Okay.
And we had the finals there. We had the Budweiser truck pull up inside the stadium. And it was just incredible. We packed the stadium and the fans, and the games were just really, it's really, really good rugby. And, you know, like I said, it's calmed down a little bit now on that part. Everybody's a little more responsible, but the games are still incredible. And this year, there's some great, great teams coming. So if you enjoy rugby or want to learn about it, I would come out this year and see it.
And you guys were kind of telling me a little bit earlier, one of Ray's personal highlights. Want to recount that for the audience a little bit?
Well, I was in the beginning. The second year, we formed a club in Santa Fe. We only have one club in New Mexico, so we wanted to expand a little bit. So we had 8 or 10 aardvarks, went up to Santa Fe, and we kept a team in Albuquerque. We formed a team in Santa Fe, and that year Santa Fe won the High Desert. Mm-hmm. And I was lucky enough to be in that game, and we won 6-3, and I had scored all the points in that game. So it's kind of my highlights, and it gets better and better every year. So
yeah, you know, we become legends in our own mind,
right? Yeah.
Because that 20-yard try was 50 yards now, you know.
Yeah, right.
But this year's tournament is going to be at Bullhead Park, October 22nd and 23rd. It's going to be televised. It's going to be a classic. Now, our problem is that there's not in order to pull off a tournament with 28, 30 teams, you need about 4 fields. Aaron, we would love to play this at the Balloon Fiesta Park, but yeah, as you know, the Balloon Fiesta is going on. So really, Bullhead is about the only park where we can actually put this tournament on because of the 4 fields. We could go out to the Bernalillo soccer fields, but they have a lot of soccer going out there. So we do need a bigger facility in Albuquerque, but we make the best use. Bullhead we have plenty of parking, and we get the city of Albuquerque working with us on getting the field prepared for the match. Mm-hmm. But I'll tell you, 45 years, think about it. We go all the way back to the Balloon Fiesta in 1972. Now, far as I know, Aaron, and not that I am a historian of sports history, but some people think I am for Albuquerque, I don't think there's been a continuous tournament except the high school state football or basketball tournament. But as a club tournament, we are the oldest club tournament in all of New Mexico. I don't think there's no soccer tournament's been gone for 45 years. There's no, matter of fact, I don't think there's no AAU basketball tournament's gone 45 years. They come and go. So can you imagine 45 years of consistency? And we don't get a lot of support. We know that the Albuquerque Convention Bureau, they've been helping us out a little bit. But it's all by entry fees and sponsors, and that's where we want to thank the Barley Room. We want to thank Papa John's Pizza. We want to thank Wally Manoli, our patron saint for the aardvarks. He owns Geckos on Academy, Geckos on Nob Hill. Wally's been a great help. And then Proview Sports, as you know, last spring we started doing the rugby games at Rugby Saturday there at Bloom Park, and they're coming in to broadcast the game. So I think, like Ray says, I think that's what's going to keep the tournament going because of television.
Yeah. I want to thank the city of Albuquerque too, because they really help us out there at Bullhead Park, and they've been good to us over the years. When there's ever a problem, they've helped us. We had to use a different park one year, and they've always been good to us. So I want to thank the city for helping us out.
Well, that sounds excellent, guys. Thank you so much for coming on the show, Marty, Ray. When we come back, folks, you're going to get to hear from Herb Howell and Carl Hawkins and talk a little bit more about the history of the tournament. Stick around.
Dr. George Stribling, the ultimate sports chiropractor, is a proud sponsor of Proview Sports. For 34 years, he has been the chiropractor for sports injuries, soft tissue, muscle fatigue, muscle sprains, neck and back injuries. Dr. Stribling specializes in a kinesio taping technique that is designed to facilitate the body's natural healing process while providing support and stability to muscles and joints without restricting the body's range of motion. Sports injuries are Dr. Stribling's specialty.
Folks, there's no other way but to be all in. Either he's Lord of all or he is not Lord at all. And you can experience the real and authentic, true life change that only God can provide to humanity. See, when we truly encounter Jesus and purpose to know him and follow his teachings, hashtag life change will occur.
Shut the Chef Up takes healthy meal preparation out of your kitchen and into ours.
This is about a cup and a half of turkey.
Every meal created and cooked by professional chefs.
You can order as much or as little as you want from our 6 rotating menus.
We offer custom meals based on your macros, your food allergies, or other dietary restrictions. And never worry about what you're putting in your body. Shut the Chef Up offers delivery service in the Albuquerque area at no added cost. Go to shutthechefupnow.com to learn more.
RC Sports Complex is a proud supporter of Proview Networks. Do you have the need for speed? Come on out to RC Sports Complex for some adrenaline-packed race action. You can bring your own vehicle, rent a ready-to-race unit, or purchase one from the great selection that we have in store. RC Sports Complex offers an addictive, technical, and fast-paced outdoor course for 10th-scale electric buggies, cars, and trucks. Visit RC Sports Complex in Rio Rancho.
Gecko's Bar and Tapas, a proud supporter of Proview Networks. It's been a fan-favorite spot for food lovers and sports fans. With not one, but 2 great locations, including outdoor patio, an atmosphere you won't want to miss. Gecko's, off Academy and in Nob Hill.
This is Carl Hawkins. Welcome to Rugby Saturday. We have a segment today where I'm going to introduce you from a historical aspect to one of the founders of rugby in New Mexico. Sitting to my right, Mr. Herb Howell. Herb, welcome to Rugby Saturday. Herb and I go back a long way. We actually have played a couple of matches together long ago. Herb, tell us about when you first came to New Mexico.
Came to New Mexico beginning of 1971 to go to graduate school and continue with the rugby that I had started playing in Oregon. And it was just the beginning. Rugby had already started here. They'd had a couple of games, but I came just right after that initial surge.
And who was playing then? Was that the UNM team? Or?
That was the UNM team. The UNM team was kind of a collection of everybody from that had ever played rugby anywhere. And we had Pat Whalen and Buck Cuddy from Santa Fe, had Lou McGill from New Zealand, who was a graduate student, Peter Maud, who had been from Australia. So we had a real collection of people that kind of meshed together, sort of.
We had Ray Marone on here a while back, and he told us about the origins of the aardvarks, and we were talking about that. And he was throwing out many of the very same names, and you were the sort of the nexus of the whole problem, let's say. Huh?
The whole problem. Yeah. We created problems as we went. Actually, we didn't have to look for them; they just found us.
So, which of the? I know that you probably have a thumbprint on every team in New Mexico, right? So at the beginning, the teams that you focused on and participated in the startup and perhaps played for and everything else, who were the key teams?
Well, when I first came here, there was only one team in the whole state, actually in the whole region. It wasn't even anything in West Texas, and that was the UNM team. And as a student there, graduate student there, I could play. Well, it didn't matter who. Then helped to found the Santa Fe team and played with them, because the Santa Fe team was kind of the older guys and the UNM team was the younger guys. After that, I worked with UNM as a coach part-time when I was in graduate school again. Spent some time coaching the Brujos here in Albuquerque, and then coached for a number of years at New Mexico Tech and Socorro. So I got around the circuit a little bit.
That's good stuff, and I know that you left an imprint, because I used to have to play against you and your teams and everything else back in the late '70s, and it was quite a wonderful time for rugby in New Mexico then. You mentioned your affiliation with the University of New Mexico.
Yes.
And we had a segment here last week where we had Taylor Hood in here, and we talked about sevens in the Olympics and Julian Potter. And you actually have a little tidbit that you can throw out there about Julian Potter yourself, don't you?
Well, yes, I wasn't coaching on a serious level. I was coming out and doing things as needed, more skills and fitness related. But Ian Jones, who I have to give a lot of credit for what he had done here, asked me to come out and work with this new player who had just come from basketball, and work with her individually just on some segments to help her understand what the game of rugby was about, and some very simple skill development things. Well, that didn't take very long, because she picked it up real fast and went on to be an All-American and just a national level player, captained the World Cup team, been captaining down in the Rio Olympics, and just an incredible athlete.
Yeah, Tom Goslow predicted gold for the U.S. rugby, but the women didn't quite do that, did they? Although they had one fine showing, I'm sure. Yeah.
Well, they tied Australia 12-12, which is the #1 team in the world. They lost to New Zealand in beyond the pool play, 5-0, which is that's one one score,
actually.
And they're #2, so they're certainly very competitive at that level.
And Julian Potter and the rest of the women on that team really had a great Olympic showing, and we should be very proud of them.
Oh, absolutely. You give them all the credit, because it's taken a lot of work.
All right, so we'll be back in a couple of minutes after these words from our sponsors, and we'll continue on with this discussion with Herb Howell.
Stop living with summer heat. Get a super efficient AC systems from Sunshine Plumbing and Heating and eliminate all worry for a full 10 years. Now that's a bold guarantee. Call now and get your free system design consultation and learn more about how our bold guarantee can help eliminate your worry for a full 10 years. Comfort you can afford. Call Sunshine Plumbing today, 296-3188.
Before you go viral, make an appointment with Feedy Family Dentistry, now with 2 locations to serve you in Albuquerque and Rio Rancho.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a #1. Cover it with green stuff, 1 scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, backed by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Barley Room, a proud sponsor of Proview Networks for over 9 years, is pleased to introduce Black Iron Catering. From weddings and family reunions to birthdays and office parties, Black Iron Catering is perfect for any event. Contact Jamie at 505-459-8259 and book your event today. Black Iron Catering. Let us bring our kitchen to you.
Sure, you could get him a new car. You could also light a pile of money on fire. So maintaining this old car is your best option. Keep it running longer, stronger, with quality parts and a whole lot of Napa know-how.
Gecko's Bar and Tapas, a proud supporter of Proview Networks. It's been a fan favorite spot for food lovers and sports fans. With not one, but 2 great locations, including outdoor patio, an atmosphere you won't want to miss. Gecko's, off Academy and in Nob Hill.
Welcome back to Rugby Saturday. As you know, I'm here with Herb Howell, and the main focus of this interview and this segment of Rugby Saturday is to get pick Herb's brain, get Herb's knowledge about the very formulation of the concept of the high desert. And so Herb, tell us, what were you drinking when you came up with this?
Well, it was more a source of frustration because coming from the Northwest, where there had been a lot of rugby for quite a while, came here to New Mexico, and you've got a 7 or 8 hour drive to the closest team. And I said, no, we can't keep doing this. You know, we gotta get people to come here. And I had been a big fan of the Far West Classic basketball tournament that they used to run in Portland. Well, they're doing it again now. So I kind of stole part of the name and said, well, High Desert Classic. And I said, okay, we got a name, we got to have a facility, and most of all, we've got to have somebody that's going to pay for this. Well, I got to give credit to Richard Matucci from
Richard Matucci,
oh,
all right.
Him
and Nidra, huh?
Oh, boy. He came forward and said, this is just what I'm looking for, and he became our title sponsor, provided us with, shall we say, product and free. And back in those days, you could drive a beer truck with 6 taps on it onto the field and just turn it loose, and people could just come and just pour at will. Universities were a little different in the 70s, and things went from the first year we had 5 teams here. University of Colorado won it. We had 2 teams from Texas. The next year it just exploded. 12 teams, people from all over, and since then we've had teams from Canada, we've had teams from Utah, from California. Portland Jesters came down here a couple of times, and there's just been an amazing thing that happened, but probably more important than the startup was the fact that it's still alive. Most rugby tournaments in America are ancient history, and this is still going. And
yeah, we're about to have what, the 45th? 44 under the belt, and one more coming up, 45. Wow.
And give credit to the people that have kept it alive, because it's taken a lot of energy. Because there's
there's a lot of them like me that curse you for this. You know?
Absolutely.
I actually ran it for about 3 or 4 years. I can't remember. It's hard to run that tournament and play rugby. A lot of people have done that over the years, and now we have how many divisions are in it?
I've lost track.
I think it's men's first division. There's a college division. There's a women's division. There's old boys divisions, and it's not quite as large as it was at one point. It's a little bit smaller. You know, there were times when we had 40, 50 teams at the High Desert, and The city of Albuquerque helps us out and provides us with facilities. We played it at Bullhead Park for a long time. We played it at UNM, obviously, in the early days. Johnson Field, I suppose, huh?
And we played some games in the baseball park, too.
We played at the old St. Pius, remember? Oh, the championships in what was then the Duke Stadium,
Duke Stadium, right. It's
Duke
still there,
Stadium.
but it's taken on a different form.
Oh, yeah.
But give credit to the people that have kept this thing going. You know, founding something is one thing. Keeping it going is a whole different batch of skills.
And the people of Albuquerque who support it, and the sponsors who you know, buy space in our program and put their banners up on the fields, and the sort of the alumni from all the different teams that have played in it, and it's just a wonderful event and a great showcase for the city of Albuquerque. You know, I was watching the Tour of Utah bicycle racing because my daughter's boyfriend, Joey Roscoff, was racing in it. He finished 5th in it, or 6th in it yesterday. And I was just watching how much money and expense and time and energy that the state of Utah put into making sure that their whole state was showcased by that particular event. That's the kind of stuff we need to see here, you know.
More and more as time goes on, too, because there's so much to market from the beauty of New Mexico. But it's the work that's done behind the scenes, and nobody remembers the name of the person that did it, but you've maybe got 50 people that have made sure that things happen, and they don't get any credit.
They don't get any credit, and they just keep, for the love of the game, they keep it going, and it's just wonderful. Well, thank you, Herb.
Well,
thank you for coming down to Albuquerque and visiting with everybody. I know you have a personal interest in your kid here and your daughter, and we just love to have you down here. You're both your daughters. Tell Nicole I said hi. I don't know your younger daughter.
Autumn is right here too.
Autumn, all right. Well, good deal.
Thanks,
Thank you very much. And that's it for today at Rugby Saturday, and we'll see you again with the next edition.
How you doing? I'm Adam Beal. You're watching the ProView Weekly Run.
Time now for the Tea of a Kind Top 10 Plays of the Week, Twist to Brew.
Welcome back. You're watching the NMAA 2015 NMAA seeding and selection.
country when I played 35 years ago, and what's happening to our world? I've been gone 20 years, and we're going to change it this week, okay?